Hi, welcome to Ask Me About Dyslexia. My name is Pam Spock and I'm a dyslexia specialist. This is a four-part series discussing how to make the transition from high school to college. Even if you think that college is a long way off, or you're not even sure if your child is going to go to college, this series of videos will at least let you know what to expect when the time comes. Also, your child has the best chance of success if you start planning early. So just keep this information in your back pocket for if and when you need it. Just 4 little notes before we begin. Number 1, I prefer the term learning difference when talking about dyslexia rather than a learning disability. But you can't get help for a learning difference, so we have to call it a learning disability in order to get support. Number 2, most of my videos are addressed to parents, and this one is too, but since I know that college and high school students might be watching this video and a lot of it applies to them, sometimes I might talk directly to parents, but sometimes I might talk directly to students. I've given this presentation live before, and that's what ended up happening. So I might switch back and forth in who I'm talking to. Number 3, I'm giving general information, but make sure that you check with the college that you're interested in because policies are going to vary from school to school. And number 4, I'm going to create a playlist for this series, so be sure to check out all the videos in this series. All right, let's get started. Welcome to part 1. Today we're going to be talking about some of the fundamental and legal differences in transitioning from high school to college as they pertain to learning disabilities. First of all, there are different laws that affect learning disabilities between high school and college. In high school, the laws are the Individuals with Disabilities Act, or IDEA, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. In college, this would all fall under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, as well as Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. One of the biggest differences that you're going to see is that in high school, parents are involved in the process of getting services and making sure that accommodations are given and they keep up with the progress. However, in college, it is all up to the student. As a matter of fact, parents are not even legally allowed access to the student's records or to talk to anybody about their child's progress unless their child gives written permission. That's right, because your child will legally be an adult by the time they get to college, you parents are out of the picture when it comes to finding out about your child's academic progress unless your child gives written permission. It doesn't matter if you're paying the bill, it's a privacy thing. And this falls under the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, the Buckley Amendment. Another difference is in the purpose or the goal of disability support. In high school, the goal is to help you have academic success. And they do this through a variety of supports, including special education classes, accommodations, modifications, additional services. However, in college, their purpose in providing support is to give equal access. So in college, they want to help you get to be successful. In college, they are going to be giving you this information and they're going to give you some reasonable accommodations in order to have equal access. Everybody has equal access to the information. However, they are not going to be modifying the information at all. Everybody there is responsible for the exact same amount of information in college. So high school, the goal is academic success. College, it's equal access. There's also a difference in how you get that support between high school and college. In high school, if it's a public school, then they do evaluations at regular intervals at no cost to you. However, in order for you to get support for college, an independent evaluation needs to be done. You need to get testing done, and it needs to be fairly recent. How recent? You'll need to check with the college. So don't go doing it too early, because you want it to still be good for when your child's going to be getting into college. The good news is that once they have had that done and they qualify for that support, then it doesn't have to be done again. You're good. Now, in high school, once you have had the evaluation done, then the school will create an IEP or a 504 plan. But in college, they don't do those. They will create an accommodation letter that says what you are able to get and what support you're getting. By the way, having an IEP or a 504 plan in high school does not automatically qualify you to get support services in college. You're going to have that independent evaluation done. Now, this is all completely voluntary. In high school, the school is responsible for identifying and helping students with disabilities. If they identify a student with disabilities, they are required to help. In college, the student is responsible for self-identifying. If they don't want to tell anybody that they have dyslexia, they don't have to. And by the way, there are plenty of things out there, especially technology-wise these days, that your child can use that is available to anybody. So just kind of depending on your situation, you and your child can kind of decide if you want to pursue that support when your child goes to college. It is not required. It's a good idea, and you can always back off of the support after you get it, but because it's going to be harder to get it later. There's also a difference in the roles and responsibilities. We kind of touched on this a little while ago, talking about how the parents are involved in high school but not in college. There's a shift in roles and responsibilities from the school personnel and the parents in high school determining what the student needs and making sure that it happens, to the student being responsible for seeking out that support and using their accommodations, especially advocating for themselves. This is why I try to train my students to self-advocate as early as possible, high school at the latest. And by the way, I have a video about how I do that with my students. I create an accommodation plan with my older students, starting about 6th, 7th grade, and I talk to them about what accommodations they need, and they tell me why they need them. We put it all in their language and make sure that they understand it, and that's what we use with the teachers to communicate the accommodations that they need, and it has worked beautifully. So I will put a link to that video down in the description box below. So it's going to be very important that the student learns how to self-advocate when they're still in high school, so that when they get to college, they will be very comfortable with that. Now, in another video in this series, I'll be going into more detail in what type of services and accommodations you might be able to expect in college. But for right now, I will just say that there is a difference between high school and college and the types of things that you can expect to get. In high school, they provide many instructional modifications, accommodations, and support service, and they have greater flexibility in how they can modify a student's academic experience and requirements. However, as I mentioned before, in college, they can't really change what you are responsible for learning. They're not going to modify the curriculum at all. They're just going to provide reasonable accommodations so that everyone has equal access to the information. So today we have looked at some of the legal differences, such as the laws that are in effect between high school and college. We've looked at some of the differences in the roles and responsibilities. We've looked at the differences between the purpose of accommodations in high school and college. That in high school, they are trying to get you to succeed, whereas in college, they are trying to provide equal access. So it's really important to know about these differences so that you and your child can start preparing, start learning how to self-advocate, start getting that testing lined up, and figure out the right timing for that testing. Maybe you need to save up for the testing. There is lots of support available because dyslexic people are often brilliant, and colleges want brilliant minds. And so they are going to give you support that is going to give you access to be able to learn with the others. They want their students to do well, and there is lots of support available. So I hope that you will look into it and watch the rest of the videos in this series, and that you will share it with your friends who also have students who are about to become college age. So I really appreciate you watching, and I hope that you'll come back for the other videos in this series. Have a great day.